Got a bad client? Probably your fault. Hey, it's Alze Calhoun with Coveted Consulting. I want to tell you a story. There was a client I was working with a long time ago, and here is the arrangement I set up with this client. We were speaking once a week, and we were working through some of the strategic challenges she had in her business, and then we were working through some of the tasks that I was doing for her. And so every conversation, every week, we would have kind of this two-part conversation. And at first, it worked out fine. But then the strategic part of the conversation got longer and longer and longer, trying to help her design the long-term goal of her business, trying to help her get clarity on the best offerings for her business, trying to get clarity on the sequencing of those offers, trying to help her get clarity on how she should involve herself with each of those offers. That conversation got longer and longer and longer. Then it was executing all those things. And so then it was, what landing pages do we need? What email sequences do we need? What videos should we create? What scripts are still required? What's the follow-up sequence and writing all of that out? Creating the actual calendar of events. Who's going to manage that calendar? Who's going to manage all the responses to all these new promotions? Execution. That part got longer and longer and longer. So what happened was, now remember, every week we were having both parts of the conversation. So that meeting time extended on both ends. What was more or less a 30 or 45 minute conversation in the beginning of our arrangement became a 2-hour plus conversation every week. Not only was it 2+ hours every week, but I'm finding myself having to lead on the strategy side, helping her think through all the right questions, having to find the right questions, 1, and then think through the right questions, 2, as we go through all the process. Then having to identify what should be executed, and then laying out the path of execution with all those things. And then when that phone call was complete, I had work to do. I now had to get off the phone and go do all the things that we talked about. That's the arrangement I put myself in. Now, what do we do though? What do we do as experts? What do we do as consultants? We blame the client. We blame the client for not being clear enough on their strategy. We blame the client for not having assets needed to execute. We put all that stuff back on the client. We would call the client a bad client. But the truth is, the reality is, Alze sold a bad service. That's poor service design on my end. How did I allow the strategic scope to get so long and extended? How did I allow the execution scope to get so long and extended? How did I find myself committing to the combination of those things and having to do all of that for the same dollar amount that I was doing 3 months earlier or 6 months earlier? That breakdown's not her fault. That breakdown's my fault.